Hey guys, welcome back to Two Girls Try Not to Quit. Really excited for this topic just because this is something that's really near and dear to both of us, just being that we've talked a lot about it and we're like, okay, we definitely need to share this with everyone else, which is really the breakdown when it comes down to it of where we grew up. Being in the US versus being in Cuba and how those different lifestyles really comes across and just how we were raised, how we get to school, how we even get groceries, all of those things. Really excited to dive into that today.
Yeah, same. Very excited topic since every time I speak to an American person, I tell them a little bit about how life is in Cuba and the things we used to do and just how the country works in general, they're always like, "What? Like you guys do that?" And then we were talking about this the other day and we were like, "You know what? We should definitely do a podcast on this topic and just talk about the differences growing up because many people don't realize sometimes the blessings they have, all the littlest things that you take for granted, especially in the US that we don't have in Cuba." And the thing is, I had a lovely, beautiful childhood that I would not trade for anything. But whenever I'm talking to somebody else and I tell them the things that we used to do or how we grew up, they're always shocked. So I'm excited to see when this goes out into the world, what people have to say, if they relate, if they don't relate, if they're surprised, if they knew it. So let's go right into it. My first question for you, Audrey, let me know when you were growing up, because this is something typical when you grow up with siblings, and I know you and me, we both have siblings. Did you share a room with your sisters, or did you have your own room? How many rooms were in your house? What did your house look like in general?
So growing up, I lived in three different homes. The first one I don't remember. I was a baby. Apparently, I slept in a closet.
Wait, what?
It was just a crib in a closet. That's all that could fit. So, but then once I got past a year old, we moved into a cottage. And so our beds actually it was a bunk bed.
Mhm.
So I have two older siblings, a brother and a sister. I slept on the bottom, my sister was in the middle, and my brother was on top. And it was just a three bunk bed in this really small room. And when I tell you there's late nights and I remember like kicking the
Oh
bed for
yeah.
my sister underneath. Like we did crazy things and I drove my
Did your
parents
parents
crazy.
did parents ever like come into the room at 3 a.m.? Go to sleep.
Yeah, we got in trouble sometimes too.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember like climbing the side of the bunk bed and they opened the door and we were we got in trouble. But once was in high school, we moved in somewhere else. My sister and I just had like a Jack and Jill. We had our own bedrooms, but our bathrooms connected. So that was fun. We still got in a little bit of trouble some late nights, but
That's
of
good.
all in all. But I know for you though, your when we've been talking, like your life is just completely not completely different, but very different growing up in Cuba than what a lot of us have here in the States and just kind of what was considered, normal in your household that feels maybe unusual when you're talking to an American who's grown up here.
What feels normal? The first thing that comes to mind is the water situation and obviously the power. So, power and water. So, in Cuba, it's normal to have power outages. Of course, now the situation is very, very bad, is very different than when I was living there. But when I was living there still, like power outages were normal. Like the power would go out for 5 hours, 10 hours, and it's totally normal. And of course, for you guys, that would happen. It's like the end of the world. Like, what am I going to
We have our
do?
little
Like,
generators that start up and the little app that's like your power will be back
yeah,
on by X time.
exactly. And it's so funny because Cubans also, we always had like a fan in every room of the house, literally on the living room, the kitchen, of course the bedrooms, a fan everywhere. And you got so used to sleeping with the sound of the fan, and when the power went out at night, there was no way to sleeping if we did not hear the sound of the fan. And then when the power went on, like at 3 a.m. or whatever, and that you could hear the fan like going,
Like peace
and we'll
at
be like, "Oh
last.
my god, finally!" And you would grab your blanket, throw it on there, and like, finally, let's get some sleep. But the water, this is something because the power outages are kind of like people know about it, but the water situation, I don't think many people know how it works. So the water always comes when I was growing up. It was like once or twice a week. It would come, and then you have to fill up your tanks. How many houses are different? Some houses have one tank, some houses, whatever you can get. I was fortunate. I had like three tanks in my house. That's not something that everybody has. Some people only have one and very little. So they can only accumulate that much water because the water doesn't come just from the pipes. It comes again, like the water comes through the pipes whenever they open it for the houses to get the water. And when it comes and has a specific schedule, you have to accumulate as much as you can in that specific time. Like my dad sometimes would come home from work because we were going to get water and he needed to fill up the tanks. If not, you weren't going to get water until the next scheduled date to get water. Like there were many times where I was taking a shower with shampoo all over my head and then there was no water. And then my dad would have to go into one of the tanks that we had and get me like a water with a bucket for me to finish washing my hair or whatever. And that happened many times. That's totally normal. That happens a lot. And yeah, I had 3 tanks. My dad would fill them all up. And we always had, again, very fortunate, we always had a resource. Like, I don't think I was ever really without water. There was nothing, at least not while I was living there. But there were many people who did. Like, sometimes people didn't have water for 2, 3 days or maybe more. Now I don't even know what to tell you. I don't live there, but my dad still lives there. But it is what it is. But I don't think many people know that. But yeah, that's a fun little trinket right there. Now, with the
Yeah.
siblings, though, I do want to say I also grew up with a sister, and we had 3 rooms in my house. Growing up, it went like in 2 phases. So I grew up. There were 2 bedrooms, one next to each other, to the other, and my mom and dad were in one, and then me and my sister in the other one, right next to each other. And we didn't have a door at that time between the rooms, so you could hear everything. And me and my sister were talking at night, and my mom would come and like con la chancleta and like you know what I'm talking about.
My mom brain went somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. So she would come with a chancleta and I'll be like, sip it, and we'll go to sleep. And then eventually we got air conditioning on 2 of the bedrooms in the house. And that's when we separated because there was the room at the end of the house had air conditioning and then one of the other ones. And of course, me and my sister would stay in one room, even though we had enough space to each of us have our own room. But obviously, we want to be with the air conditioning. So we stayed together until I left. So yeah, that was fun. Now, this is an interesting one. Like when you were growing up, how was your relationship with money as a kid or your parents? What did you grow up watching?
Yeah, I mean, my parents at least tried to instill us knowing like the value of money. So where it was coming from, it just doesn't come like you can't just get stuff out of thin air. So we would have like a chore chart and stars, and if we got a certain amount of stars, we'd get a dollar or something.
That's so cute.
So that way it was like teaching us how to earn money. And then of course as I got older, then it was like, I was working with my dad or working on farms and stuff to make money. So when I was really little, different than I think when I first started working, I was 12 and I worked for this lovely like 80-year-old woman, and her and I became really close friends. But I got a promotion on my first day of the job. She brought me from like $10 an hour to $12 an hour, and as a kid, like I was like, wow, this is amazing. How many
I
packs
got
of gum I
promoted on
can
my
buy?
first day.
Yeah,
Could
so
not be
it was
real
like
in the real world.
I know it's changed later on, but so that was cool. It was like I had a lot of opportunities very young to start saving, which helped me eventually pay for college. So, but I was thankful for my parents to teach that. I don't think a lot of kids know like the hard work that goes into having money. And so when they go out and their parents are giving them stuff and they get older and it's like, oh, it's just they just ask and ask and ask. But it's like when you know the value and the hard work that goes behind it, you appreciate it a little bit more when you do have it. So I can remember like having piggy banks and stuff. So I don't know. For you, I would say, did you have a chore chart growing up?
Girl, no.
Like I know the answer, but
Do you? We listen in Hispanic world, and this is not just Cuba. Everybody who's Hispanic, I think, has the same childhood. If you're a woman, as soon as you turn like 9 or 10 years old, it's your responsibility to do everything in the house with your mother. It's your responsibility, your duty to clean, to cook, to do whatever. I remember
this
I
is why you're such a
was
good cook. You've been training for this.
I've been training my whole life. No, for real. Like my mom, she would not take anything, man. Like that woman, Sunday or Saturday, me and my sister were trying to sleep, sleeping in the morning on the weekends. She would come up busting the door open. Okay, get up. It's time. Like she was brooming. It's time to clean. It's time to clean. It's time to wash the clothes. Get up. And we were like, oh my God.
See, I love
And
this too
and we
because
would let it
you use brooms.
Yeah,
This is, I love
we
this
use
because you still do
brooms.
this.
I
I'm like,
still
why not get a
do.
vacuum?
It's so weird. Everybody tells me get a vacuum. It's so weird to me. Like I'm just used to rooming.
It's nice. It takes it all up. The brooming puts it in the air. This is why you have bad allergy.
Maybe I need to get a vacuum. But yeah, I'm so used to brooming, like literally. I think on every single video that we do FaceTiming, I'm brooming. My mom still brooms at her house too. It's just in our blood. But anyways, yeah, no, we would not get a reward for doing chores. It was our responsibility and our duty as
You can
10-year-old
have
old
fun little
women.
stars with colors and sparkles on them.
Yeah, I remember one time, oh my God, this is wild. I was like 12 or 13, and both my mom and my sister were in Panama or Peru because my mom used to travel and get merchandise to sell in Cuba at one point in time. And my sister went with her one time, and then it was just me and my dad at the house, and I was 13. And of course, it was my responsibility to cook. You know, my dad would come from work. And I remember this one time I like it's not I'm not shy to say, I like beer. I was 13. So I got home from work before my dad, of course. I cooked, did my homework, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get a beer. At 13. My dad gets home and I'm watching a show, drinking a beer, and he gets there and he sees me and he's like a proud dad moment. Honestly, he was like, yeah, that's my daughter.
Like that looks that's yeah.
That's about right. And I'm like, mm-hmm. Oh, such good times.
One of the biggest thing that really stood out for me because I live a little bit under a rock in my peaceful world. But when you talked about groceries, because we have the joys of just going to the store, getting whatever we want, stopping at Publix,
Yeah.
convenience, get it delivered to my apartment door. But
Yeah, you do
I'd love for
abuse that
you.
power a lot.
I do. I really do.
It's
If
true.
I express in an hour, I could have a full set of groceries.
You love it.
Yeah. But with that, I would love for you to go deeper into just the rationing and how you actually get access to your resources.
Yeah, so that is a hot topic that I could go into many different directions with. For the purpose of this video in this moment right now, I'm not gonna go into the current situation with the food over there right now, especially because I'm not living there. So I can speak from what I've experienced, even though I have a pretty good idea because my dad lives there and I talk with him and I'm aware of what's going on. But I'm just gonna talk about the things that I saw and how I lived it because again, I'm not there right now. But when I was growing up, like, and this is still happening right now, each household has like a notebook. It's called La Libreta de Abastecimiento.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then each page is like a month of the year, like January, February, March. And then it has bread, toothpaste, salt, sugar, eggs. What else? Even like for women, the pads what we use for our periods and stuff, we would get that in a monthly basis from the pharmacy. We would get like one pack per woman or per woman in a household. So in my house, there were three women. We get 3 packs a month. Each
So you
month,
do not
we
want to
have
have
to
a heavy
go.
flow in Cuba.
It's not enough. Let me tell you, it's not enough. If you don't have other methods to get these things, it's not enough. And the good thing is that when you do start getting it when you're like 10 years old or 8, and then most women don't get it until like they're 12 or 11 or something like that. Sometimes you can like catch up and like save a lot before you get it. This sounds so weird to talk about. It's insane. It's insanity. Anyways, so yeah, like that with a bunch of other foods. So like fish, there's actually a very popular saying in Cuba. It's like pollo por pescado, which means like chicken for chicken instead of fish, because it's always one or the other. It's never two proteins a month or something like that. It's just one, and sometimes that one doesn't even come. Because again, that you have all these things in the notebook doesn't mean you're gonna get it all. If there wasn't any salt or any eggs or any whatever at a certain point in time, you just didn't get it. And that's it. And then the bread, you would get one piece of bread per person in the family household a day. And literally I remember my dad going to the how do you call it, the bakery. They only made bread, nothing else. It's just bread.
Yeah.
But he would go to the bakery to get the bread every morning. And yeah, it's just like 4 pieces of bread. Now, you would get that from the government, right? Are some other stores where you can get other stuff that are imported? Yes. But again, very rare. And those things were always tricky because if somebody, let's say I have a cousin working at this store, right? of course, people want to protect their family and give food to their family and to their close ones. So the people who worked at these places sometimes, would say, would just get it and hide it or sell it some other way and not give it to the public. So, it's tricky like that because, of course,
Yeah.
everybody who has access to these things wants to protect their family and the people close to them, or some other people just want to make more money and they sell it for more than it is worth, or just keep it to themselves and not give that profit to the store that they're working on, which is the government's anyway, because everything in Cuba it's owned by the government. When I'm saying these other stores, those stores are still owned by the government. It's kind of tricky to explain. So there are other, you could you buy bread somewhere else? Yes, but again, super hard to get. Like my mom had to wake up super early to go to the stores and fight a bunch of people, literally fight a bunch of people
It's
to be
like
able
Black
to get
Friday, but
some bread.
for
Yeah, and
bread.
this would happen like every week, and sometimes there weren't any. It's like it's complicated. Sometimes I remember times where there was no toothpaste to be found in the whole city. There's no salt. Like things go missing randomly. Milk, yogurt. Like these are not easy things to get by. Ice cream. I remember ice cream. Let me tell you this. Do you know how we got ice cream all the time? There was this guy who worked at the ice cream place, the ice cream shop, you could call it. And of course, again, they would steal the ice cream and they would resell it outside. And then this guy would always come to my house because we were a customer, regular customer, and he would just scream my dad's name, Jorge, ice cream. And then my dad goes out, he pays the guy, and then we get the ice cream.
See, we
That's
had
how
a
it worked.
bright we had a bright yellow truck that would drive around the neighborhood and sing songs, and you could hear
Yeah.
the bell and the song ring. You knew it was the ice cream truck.
No.
You would run outside. My parents disliked the ice cream truck, but you could hear it. You could hear it inside the house. You just run outside and be like, "Mom, Dad, I want ice cream," and then voila, ice
Yeah.
cream would just appear.
We
So
had something similar, but they were not, it wasn't like music and it was a pink. No, it was a guy on a bicycle with some little ice creams on the back. And he would go in the bicycle across every neighborhood screaming, hello, hello. And then we would go out running. And again, it's like a bunch of kids fighting because when it's done, it's done.
so ours is like enjoyable. There's like a cute little semi-aisle line, and everyone's like, "Which
No,
flavor do
mine,
I
it
want?"
was war. It was war. Like you would go get the money and run outside for your life.
Yeah, our biggest problem was just like making sure our parents wanted to go out and actually get the ice cream. That was the biggest thing. Or my
Yeah,
dad
and
would
again,
chase down the ice cream truck because it would be going around the
yeah.
corner.
And sometimes it was better than other times, like sometimes there was like little you couldn't call it coffee shops. It's somebody's house that they have a lot of things and they sell it. There was this house very near to my house. They would sell ice cream, they would sell pizza. And I remember me and my best friend, we remember this date so clearly because we had so much fun and we ate so much. We went and got a pizza and an ice cream, each of us. And then we went home, we ate it, and we wanted more. And we went out and we got another ice cream and another pizza. So again, it's not like we didn't have access to these things, but it's a little harder, not usual, like the typical way that you would have it here.
Yeah, I hear it just kind of appears.
Yeah. Ooh, so how did you get to school? Walking, bus, car, public transportation? What was your method to get to school?
So in high school, one of my parents would drive us to, because I went to like a extended school, so they would drive me to the main public school, and then there would be a bus there that would bus me to the,
Bus me around.
yeah, would bus me to the right place. So, and then eventually I got to drive, and that was great.
Okay,
Like finally.
so until what grade were you like taking the bus?
So I only took the bus for like freshman and sophomore year, and then from there I was able to drive.
Okay, that's
So
like
then,
10th grade. Like 10th
yeah,
grade. Junior year, senior year, you were driving.
whipping it around. I mean, let's say, do you guys have a bus? Your face priceless.
Girl, no.
We can't even get chicken.
No.
You think we have a bus?
No, we actually had like we call it guaguas. It's like a guagua.
Oh,
We
I
call it
like
a
that
bus,
one.
but it's not specific to students.
It's
For
just like public
anyone.
transportation.
That would be public transportation, exactly, which was terrible, to be honest. I'm not even going to go into that one, but that was the method that most people use. Actually, some of the students they used to get trains and everything because some of the people that lived in like rural areas where there weren't any schools per se, they would have to take the train or some other type of transportation to the city to then go to school, which is super hard, honestly. I know some people who still do that today. Like it would take you like 2 hours or 3 hours to get to school and back.
Oh, jeez.
And those trains and public transportations are not very nice. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say
And I mean, once you,
the windows are broken, the doors are broken, the chairs are broken. Sometimes you sit on a piece of iron, literally.
yeah, that doesn't sound great. I mean, buses weren't lovely by any means. You know, my biggest thing is my hair would get stuck in the windows, and that was my
Yeah.
biggest complaint in the world. Just
Yeah,
have a
so
chunk of.
yeah, honestly, kudos to all those kids. I was very, again, for living in Cuba, I was very privileged. My dad always had a car since the moment I was born. My sister had it a little rougher because when my sister was born, she's 7 years older than me. My parents had like a bike, and then they had a motorcycle, and then they were growing up, and then my dad finally had a car, and he always had a car while I was growing up, so that was great. And he would actually take me to school and back. It's funny, okay, let me tell you a story. Because then my best friend, who lived on not my same block but the block after mine, she started going to my same school in fourth grade. So from first to third grade, it was just me, my dad taking me to school. But from fourth grade to sixth grade, which is elementary school in Cuba, she started going with me, and she would go to my house in the morning so that my dad could take us. And my dad, he's the best man ever. I love him to death, but he is not very patient. He is not very patient. And he would get so stressed when she was not there on time because he had to go to work, and he was like, I'm gonna be late to work. Where is she? You need to call her. And one day he actually left her. He got tired and he left her, and she was never late again.
Let's say the lesson will be learned after that for
Yeah, she
sure.
was never late again. My goodness, yeah, but good times. And yeah, my dad would take me. So I was always the first one to get to school and the last one to leave because my dad had to be at work really early. So he would take me to school. Literally, I was the first one there and then the last one to leave until fourth grade when she started. Actually, she saved me because my dad would pick me up when he left work, which was an hour after my school ended. So my school ended at 4:30 and he would leave work at 5:30, and he would pick me up at 5:30. So I was just hanging out at school until he picked me up. When I saw him, I remember every single time I ran to him so happy. I was like, finally, I'm free.
Get me out of here.
I know. But then when she started going, my best friend, he actually, had some dignity in him. And he started sending either him or his best friend who worked with him, and he would drive around in his car and he would actually send them to pick me up. And yeah, so it was either my dad or his best friend picking us up, and that's what saved me. And then that was elementary school. And then for how do you call what's after elementary school here?
Middle
Middle
school.
school. Middle school and high school in Cuba. I was just on a bike. Actually, yeah, on a bike. I was just biking my life away.
Hey, good exercise every day.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
What was
I
a
mean,
normal school day for you?
at what time? My education was
Okay,
very unique.
let's talk about elementary school because this one is the one that I can say the most like difference with like food or stuff like that. Elementary school, how was the day for you?
I was gonna say mine's a little bit different than the normal American kid, anyways, because I was
Why?
homeschooled
Wait, in elementary school only or all throughout?
until high school, or well, until end of middle school. So
What?
you don't know this?
No, I
Probably
didn't
I
know.
probably because I keep this like very on the down low. Now it's
Why?
out
No, I
for
think homeschooling it's great.
yeah. Well, when I was homeschooling, it wasn't well received, especially in our area. It wasn't the thing to do. But my mom was a professor. She taught K through 12, then she went on to teach teachers how to teach. So she's very well educated. And both my siblings went through public school and had terrible experiences. So by the time I came around, she just pulled all three of us and was like, I'm teaching you at home. So for me, up until middle school was very, very different because my commute to school was a staircase. We had breakfast and lunch and dinners at the same table we did our schoolwork at. I learned from my parents, we had all the workbooks and stuff, and so more unique. But what was cool was like being in Michigan, then our recess, like we'd go outside and we'd sled down the hill, and my parents were
Oh,
more about bringing us out and like seeing things, so going to museums and like physically learning versus just like straight up being in a classroom.
right.
But middle school, my mom got a different job. She wasn't working nights anymore. So then I went to middle school,
Mm.
which was a shock because I had been very
I can
sheltered.
imagine. Yeah, I can imagine being with your mom all through elementary school, like, your home, your peace, everything, and then boom, with the
Yeah.
sharks.
It was, and I was a seventh grader in eighth grade. We wore uniforms. It's when I got diagnosed with my back problems as well. So I
Oh,
wore a full on back brace. I had a rolling backpack. I sat on a bright
man,
yellow cushion,
you
had
were a
braces,
target.
glasses. It was,
You were
it
you
was
were a
bad.
target. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of character building in that year. So yeah, my experience was at least a little bit different than the traditional American kid with the Bosco sticks and the cafeteria lunch and the trays and whatever that actually happened there.
Yeah, whatever actually.
I know I'm probably not the best one to,
Yeah. So
but at
speaking
least
about that, like the cafeteria and the trays and everything. So the only time that I actually experienced that was in elementary school. Because for middle school and high school for me in Cuba, I actually went home to eat dinner, to eat lunch, and then went
oh,
back to school. Yeah, everybody did it around that time because you would pick a school that was close to your home relatively. Like there's some people who would come from afar, and I don't know what they did, but we did. I went home to eat lunch in a middle school and high school, so that was good. I had good lunch. I actually ate. But elementary school, let me tell you that to this day, me and my mother do not know how I am alive right now because I ate absolutely nothing. I didn't drink water and I didn't go pee, obviously, because I didn't drink water in the whole day, all the 6 years that I was in elementary school.
you're lucky your growth wasn't stunted.
Yeah, I do not. And I had a lot of energy, a lot of energy. And yeah, I do not know. And the thing is, my mom, and now especially that I'm older and I know all the work that my mom and my dad did to get me the food that they did, because my mom would pack me breakfast and lunch every single day and really sometimes deprive herself of some foods that she would want to eat for me so that I could eat it. And I never did. I threw, it hurts to say this, but I threw it out the window. Or in the best case scenario, I gave it away to my student. I always forget what they are.
Your
My what?
peers.
My peers, my friends, whatever you, the other students. I'm looking for a specific word, but anyways, I give it away to people on the base case scenario. But most times, I just threw it out the window, and I didn't
Wow.
know
You
how
could have
hard
sold
my
it.
mom.
Girl, you could have had your own little business going
Yeah.
on.
No, I can't sell it. Like kids don't have money over there. But yeah, my mom and my dad worked really, really hard to get me what they gave me, which was relatively good food back then. And sometimes they wouldn't even eat these things to give it to me, and I would just not eat it. And then for lunch, we did have a cafeteria and we would go to this cafeteria every day. I did not eat a single thing. They would give us this stuff. I do not, it's called gofio in Spanish. I have to show you a picture of this thing because I to this day I do not know what that thing was made of. But they gave us that every single day.
I'm scared. Was it like structured or was it like a pudding?
It looks like poop, honestly. I
Chocolate
don't know
pudding?
what it was. No, literally, it says Gofio Cubano. Let me show you. Looked up a picture. I want to throw up, bro. What is this?
I'm
I don't
so
know. I
worried.
do not. I do not know what this is, but they gave us this every single day.
Like, wait, are you gonna text
Like
this to me or
it's
are you
like a
gonna
powder. I'm just looking for a good picture of what it is, but it's like a powder that they mix with water. Literally, they mix it
oh,
with water, and it's like this. It looks and it tastes like glue.
glue?
To this day, I don't know what it is. I'll show you later. But they gave us that every single day. And then sometimes they give us like beans or other stuff, rice, beans, rice, tomatoes, eggs, or something like that. I never ate anything. I was
Why
grossed
didn't you
out
eat?
because I was grossed out by the kitchen and everything. And yeah, I was just a picky kid. And then when you get to third or fourth grade, they actually have your classroom like once a week, clean the kitchen and clean all these things. And just that memory is just like I don't want to eat here
Y'all were
ever.
just like slave labor as kids.
Yeah, yeah, no. We actually had to stay after school. Like the teacher would assign like 5 kids to clean the classroom every day on the afternoon. Yeah.
It's
So
interesting.
it would actually stay a little bit later to clean the room, and it's like 5 people. I think it's Fridays. It's not every day, it's Fridays. The teacher would
Not on
assign
Fridays.
five
That's just
kids.
cruel.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
were your
teacher would
teachers
assign 5 people to clean the room on Fridays. So it would I would do it like one time every quarter because there's a lot of kids in one classroom. But we would stay after school and clean the classroom.
Yeah. I
Man,
mean, were
you
those
just don't look
teachers,
that. I forgot about that.
were they pretty strict as well?
So, yeah, and they also don't, there's like no set rules. It's like the teachers have the power. Here how it's like very, no,
You
the
can't hit the
kids need to
kids.
be, exactly, the kids need to be taken care of. No. Over there, the power is on the teacher, and the teacher can do whatever they want to anybody. I would get, the razor. Is that what it's called? The razor when you erase the board?
Yeah, an eraser.
An eraser? Yeah. So the eraser when they're like erasing the board? They would throw that at kids that were bad. And the bad thing about it is that since I was a good kid, they would always sit the worst possible human beings next to me. And then when they're throwing the shock, because they would throw shock or they would throw the eraser at these people, sometimes I would get hit.
Have you ever heard of the game Raving Rabbits?
No.
Okay, this will lead into a different segue, but there was a game growing up. It was on the Wii, and it was just like these bunnies that misbehaved. And so you would be the bunny and you'd like misbehave. One of
Hmm.
the games was like throwing stuff at the teacher, and the teacher would get angry, turn around. If you got caught in the game, they'd throw the eraser at you.
Man,
So
they made
that's
that
what
after
that
Cuba.
I know.
They
I'm
made
like,
that
that's
after
what that
Cuba.
reminded me of. I'm gonna have to text my siblings to be like, remember Raving Rabbits? Because it was a
Yeah,
game we,
no,
we
it was
played
bad.
quite
It was bad.
often.
Let me tell you the story. So this was actually in middle school. We were also bad. Like, I'm not defending
Maybe you
anybody.
deserved the eraser.
No, not me. I did nothing. I'm saying the kids in general. I was an angel from heaven. Every teacher loved me. Okay. Anyways, but when I was in eighth, it was seventh or eighth grade. She wasn't even our teacher. She was like the manager of the teachers. She was like a very important role in the school. She wasn't our direct teacher on any signature or anything. But for some reason, we hated her. And we put a trash can on top of the door of the classroom, right? And every door of the classroom is always open, like it's never allowed to be closed. So we closed it a little bit, just a little bit, so that we could put the trash can on top of the door, right? And then no, now we, because I did nothing.
I was about to say, you're saying we here, but
They started making a lot of noise that everybody could hear in the school. This wasn't a very big school. It was literally like a U. It was like this. So you could hear everything from every single classroom. They started screaming, singing, doing this to the chairs like this, doing like this to the table. Literally so much noise. And obviously, she was the one who had the responsibility to come check. And this woman opened the door, and the trash can and all the trash fell on her.
my goodness. No
This
wonder
is
why
like a this is like a
wonder why
46-year-old woman. She started
she's trying the
crying.
most. Yeah,
She
because she
started
can't have
crying.
bread. She can't have chicken. The last straw. Trash can fall on top of her.
That's so true, honestly. That's
No
so
wonder why
true.
she threw the
Oh my god.
eraser.
Oh my god. Well, no, she called a meeting. 8 a.m. meeting, like a parent meeting at 8 a.m., which every parent meeting was always after school at 5 p.m. No, she called a meeting at 8 a.m. And all the parents came to the meeting and she was crying on the meeting. All the kids were outside, so we didn't know what was happening until the parents came out and they told us. But it's funny because the meeting lasted about 45 minutes. My dad actually came out of there 10 minutes into the meeting. Do you
He said,
remember that my dad doesn't have a lot of patience? Yeah. He got up 10 minutes into the meeting as this woman was crying. They told me this after. And he's like, "Good morning, everybody. Ladilin Sorka's father, my daughter had nothing to do with this. I'm going to go now." And he left.
they do. He said, yep, not wasting
And
my
I was
time
like,
here.
and everyone
Take
was
care of your
like, "Is the
kids.
meeting?" Everybody was like, "Is the meeting over?" He's like, "No, I'm just out of here. I need to work. Bye."
Like, I don't have time for this.
He did not give up. Pickle.
Pickle. Of all the words, a pickle.
Pickle. Anyways. How? What about you? And I mean, I know I kind of know your answer because I kind of know the rules over here a little bit. But did you had ever any strict teacher or anything like that?
I mean, personally, I didn't because I was a saint as well.
Good.
And my biggest problem is I did it to myself. I was the kid that was like, don't we have a quiz today? Because I was so serious about my education.
Audrey, if
I
you
didn't
were in
know.
Cuba, people would have hated you.
The people hated me. I was not well liked in school. I was liked by the teachers. They really
You were
they
liked
cared for me. Yeah, I would
The
hang out
worst
with the
possible,
teachers
the
after.
worst possible thing that you could do, being liked by the teacher.
I see. I think that's the reason why I like an old soul is because I grew up in a different environment where we were treated more like adults at a young age. And so then I got along with the adults more than I did with people my age because I just
Mm.
found the kids to be annoying. I was like, why are you throwing stuff at the wall? This doesn't make sense to me. Why aren't we focusing? Why aren't we studying? You know?
Oh
So
my
I
God.
just was not.
Honestly, you were so annoying. Because the thing
I
about me
was.
is, I love you, but you were. The thing about me is, I was very good. I was good. I had good grades. I was good with the teachers, but I never went against the people
See, I didn't know I was
ever.
going against the people.
I
I
wasn't
was too
against them.
oblivious.
I was just going with the flow. Just wouldn't say anything. And yeah, did you guys ever have the chance to do any like, I don't know if this is the right word, like treasury? I don't know, like any how would you call it?
Treasury? Treasury is like
Anything like
money related.
trickery.
Like a
I
field
don't know,
trip?
like no, like did you guys ever, for example, something that I remember doing on the sixth grade? I wasn't part of it, but I remember my classroom did. We closed all the windows. We went dark, and they started playing. You know when you spin a bottle and you kiss? They started doing
Yeah.
that. Did you guys ever do anything like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a name for that, but I did in high school a little bit. There we had like, a drunken night and we played spin the bottle, but nothing. I mean, there's
Drunken
the
night? No, but this was like during class time.
yeah, no,
This was during class time, and we were in sixth grade.
yeah, I never really had a normal high school or education experience because
You
that
know what,
first year was
Audrey?
just like adjustment.
If one day Cuba, it's in a better condition that I can actually take you, I will take you, and I will take you to all these places, and I'll show you my school and oh, here this happened. Oh, that would be so fun.
That would be lovely. And then I could
Yeah, tell me.
get a full picture.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Every time I go to Cuba, I always want to see every place that I will ever spend time on, like all of my schools, the stadium, the park. It's so fun to go back, and I honestly, I love it. I want to know about your vacation time. Did you guys ever had like a specific vacation that you would go in every year and you were looking forward to it every single day of the year until that happened? Did you ever had anything like that, or was it that you had a different vacation every year?
So we didn't really have set vacations. I had friends that did, but the way that my mom's work was is she could go on conferences. So at least before I was in high school, we travel all the time because her hotel and her flights would get paid. So what she would do is we would all get in the minivan and we would drive there, so it was expensed, and then we'd all have the
Yes.
hotel, so it was like almost
You
a
do
free
love that. You do
vacation.
love free vacations. Those are the best.
She was so smart. We didn't know until we were older that this was all just like a work trip. It was like, oh my gosh, we're traveling again. We go to like Legoland and
Oh, that's
Disney
so
and all
fun.
that. But so it was frequent because she had to for work. And luckily, my dad, he owns his own business, so he had the flexibility as well. So we were just really blessed with having our parents' time. I mean, I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people they don't see their parents till after 5, 6 o'clock, and then
Yeah.
it's like they're doing homework or they're doing something else. So it's like that quality time isn't there. Where my whole family were extremely close because we just spent an abnormal amount of time together.
An abnormal amount of time. Maybe too much time. No, no,
Yeah, I
it's
mean we're
never too
very
much time
close.
with family. It's very good.
Yeah, I was thinking today. Sometimes I just get being
And
so
you
far
decided
away.
to move away to Florida and leave them alone.
I know it's so
Shame.
sad.
You know what? I'm gonna put this clip. I'm gonna put this clip on Instagram now that your mom follows me. And she's gonna see it and she's gonna be like, "Yeah, bad,
Like she
Audrey,
moved for
bad."
me. To be fair, they always said when I was growing up because I was super independent, they were like, "You're going to be the one that moves furthest away." So they kind of talked it into existence. To be fair, but definitely, like I had a moment today where I was like, you know what, I would just love a hug from my dad. And
Oh
now, like
man,
it's just like healing to be with your family, and I
it
don't
really is.
know the next time I'm going to see them. And I mean, I'm sure you can relate with your dad still in Cuba.
Yeah, tell me about it. I've been trying to talk to him for the past 2 weeks. I haven't been able to. I called him today, texted him, like it's the internet situation is not great. I mean, it's never been great, but now it's worse than ever. And I have not been able to talk to him. It's crazy. I know he's
He's like
fine
right.
because he could text sometimes when he sees us, so I know he's fine because he texts, but I'm trying to call him and actually talk to him.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to actually tell him something important that has happened in my life that you know about, and I haven't been able to because I haven't been able to talk to him.
I
And
was
it's
about to
very
say that
frustrating.
that pings me in another direction because one of my favorite stories from you is how dating is in Cuba in the alleyway. I will never, I will not
Wait.
ever forget.
Okay, so before we go into this side of the story, let me tell you about vacation in Cuba. So we actually did had kind of similar to you. My dad, for my dad's work, we would get a week, a whole week, completely paid off, of course, in Varadero, which is the hottest, at least back then. I don't know right now, but it's still good. Like it's still very good. But back then it was the hottest vacation place for everyone and like very touristy, very expensive for like it sounds bad to say, but regular Cubans. Is the thing about Cuba is when it was like at its peak in tourism, these places for to tourists wasn't really made for Cubans. It was made for people from outside of Cuba so that country could get money. So these places were not available to like regular Cubans because we couldn't afford it. But my dad would get a week, an entire week paid off in this place. And it was by the beach. And literally, it's a city that doesn't look like Cuba. It looked like Miami. Now that I know Miami, it looked like Miami. The buildings were high, the streets, everything. It looked like another country. So going there every single summer since I was like I was 2 years old until I was like 12 or 13. So we went every single summer, an entire week, and it was the best because you would get everything. You would get ice cream, you would get candy, you would get all the stuff for your room, and then you would eat, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and we would go to the beach in the morning and to the beach again on the afternoon. And then at night, every single day, they had a different activity. They had karaoke, they had like a mini park. And then on Saturdays, we would always go to this, it was like a, how do you call it? A park. It's a what? An amusement park?
Amusement park?
Yeah, an amusement park with there's like the roller coasters and stars and everything. Every Saturday we would go do that, and it was so fun. We would literally have a calendar. My sister, my cousins, everybody who would go, and we would mark the days to go on this
Oh,
vacation. Oh, it was so
that's so
fun.
sweet.
It was so fun, and I have all these pictures and all the memories from those years and those times. So great to look at. Like I said, I wouldn't trade my childhood for anything. Like I had the best childhood and I didn't know how good I had it until I grew up and I realized, wow, that was great. Being an
Yeah.
adult sucks.
Hey, there's perks to it, but definitely it's nice when you don't have to think about the like taxes swirling
Yeah, and
around.
also you don't know when you were growing up in Cuba, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't have. And then you grow up and you get more aware. And I think that's a lot of what's going on right now. People have more internet now than when I was living there. We had no internet at all. When I was living there, we had no social media, nothing. So we were just living in our little bubble. And again, things weren't as hard as they are now. So I have nothing to complain. I had it all in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, luckily it sounds like your parents did a really good job at making sure that you had the things that you needed in spite of the challenging environment that you
Yeah.
were in. So
Yeah.
props to them. I still like I would love to meet them. Like, I feel like I know them, especially like your sister and such, just by us
Yeah.
talking, but I'm like, I've never met them.
Yeah, same with your parents. Well, now that your mom follows me, maybe I'll start sending her reels.
Be like, here you go. And if she asks about my friends, she's like, she tries to like know the stories and it's like, who's this? And especially when I post pictures, she's like, which one's this one? And I'm like, oh, this is so cute.
So cute.
So she
Okay,
really
so
cares.
dating.
Dating us. Because this is
Dating.
probably like the most memorable thing that I remember.
The
Memorable
alley.
thing that I remember. The alleyway.
Okay, so dating in Cuba, honestly, really easy. Here, you guys make it super complicated.
All these
Over there,
labels and
I know. Over there, you got a friend, and that friend talks to a friend of a guy you like, or vice versa. If a guy likes you and he has a friend, he goes to talk to your friend and says, hey, my friend really likes your friend. Go tell her. And then she comes over, she tells me, hey, that guy really likes you. Do you like him? If you say yes, and you're like, okay, perfect, he's gonna meet you at the alley, just go over there. And you don't even say your names. You just go for the kiss. You kiss, and then when
nothing
you're
but
done
business.
kissing, then you say, "Oh, by the way, my name is so and so."
Only if it's good.
And sometimes you never talk to each other again. It's great.
Wow.
And sometimes you do. I remember this one time. This guy, he asked me for my number. I gave it to him. And I got home and he texted me, "Hi princess. It was so nice spending time with you." And I wanted to throw up. I wanted to
Oh my
throw up.
goodness.
I think I blocked him. And the worst thing is, I saw him the next weekend and I was like, oh, shoot. Shoot
Like,
me in
oh,
the face.
I think I gave you
Shoot
the
me in
wrong
the face
number.
right now.
My phone broke.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that story because it's so memorable. I'm like, really? Especially just
Memorable.
because when I first met you, I was like, I just didn't, that wouldn't have been where my head would have gone by any means. But yeah,
It's a whole different life ago. Because here I've only had um two boyfriends.
just a handful.
And I was single for 4 years. So
Yeah.
definitely when I was in Cuba, it was a different story. But I was never in a relationship though. That's how it works though. Like you kiss somebody one night, you don't see them again.
Fades into the distance. The one that got away, you know? You'll never
Actually,
know.
that's a lie. That's a lie. You do see them again because it's such a small town. You will
Oh,
see
yeah.
them again, but you would act like you don't know them.
It was dark. You really didn't see them, you know? That's the nice part. It's like, in college, I'd get a picture of the guy I kissed, and I was like, oh no, it's not good.
Yeah.
Luckily, it
Fun
wasn't in an
times.
alley, but
What about
yeah,
you? Because I know you had a lot of have a lot of fun dating now, and you keep your options open to
I
meet
don't know if I'd
people.
use the word fun.
I was gonna say it's not
I've
always great,
had some
but
entertaining dates.
you're open. But when you were younger, how was it? Like when you were, 15, 14, what was that like? Because I know here you guys, honestly, this is gonna sound bad, but you guys are gonna awkward about it.
We are. It is. I didn't date because I didn't date until was it high school? Can't remember. I'm trying to remember who my first boyfriend was. I had one. Oh, he was so lovely. It was probably honestly my favorite boyfriend, which is crazy. That was like one of my first ones. He was just such a sweet like angel, really nice guy, and we didn't really do much. We were just like really like close friends. He was best friends with one of my best friends. We just hung out, and it was cute because we went to games together, and he was on the basketball and football team. So then I could go and like I would be cheering him on. I'd be wearing his jersey. It was adorable. And it was like when I hit my glow up too. So I was just all like cutesy with, supporting him. And he was on like the rival team or the rival high
Oh,
school's team. So I was like, was that girl? But it was cute.
you remember?
My dating, nothing crazy in high school. I think it just was like a peck kiss and it went from there. So my entertainment really happened in college, and especially now that I moved to Tampa.
Entertainment. I know the entertainment is happening in Tampa. I'm aware of that.
Tea, you know what? It's
It's not
not
always good,
great, but
honestly. Dating scene in Tampa, and I can't talk that much about it because I haven't lived there. But for what I've seen, it's a shit show.
it's bad. I can't even remember like a really good date that I have had here. There's always been like something that happens on it that I'm like, it just doesn't end
Honestly, and
good.
every time I go there and I see and I meet new guys, with you, not that I'm meeting them in a dating way at all, but like, you meet people out there. I haven't met one person that I'm like, this is a nice guy. Like every single person I meet is like, this is a freaking prick. Like what I
Yeah,
call them like morons and pricks. That's all I can say. I haven't met like a guy that I can say, okay, he has his life together.
yeah.
And I want to make this clear, making a lot of money is not getting your life together. You can make a lot of
Emotional
money and
stability.
be a freaking terrible person and not knowing. Ugh, don't get me started.
Yeah, I don't know where the good guys are, but I'm just busy building, and eventually it'll it'll fall out of nowhere. So I'd rather have one that fits than one that I make fit. I mean, you put a square peg in a round hole.
Mhm.
It's gonna be my
That's it. That's the clip from this. Okay. So, unfortunately, we do not have a lot of time since we are not
chatterboxes.
monetizing this podcast yet. So, we literally have a cutoff time. So, this has been a lot of fun. And by the looks of it, we got a lot left on this topic. So, we might need to do a part two soon. But as always, please give us a follow on Instagram at Two Girls Trying Not to Quit. And now our YouTube channel where you can see this unedited and you can see our beautiful faces. I know. But this was a lot of fun, Audrey, and I cannot wait to talk to you again next Monday. We love you all and hope you're having a wonderful week.